Morning, folks. Welcome to today's live stream. Got important news today concerning Bitcoin. Let's pop right into it, yeah? And I'm actually very happy with what's happening on Bitcoin right now. I stopped out of a pretty large position, but the good news is market condition has changed with this recent move, and because of that, well, we're going to have a lot more easy positions in the near future. Okay? So, let's go ahead and record this video. Hey folks, welcome to today's update. We've got some really important news on Bitcoin, and let's dive right into it. Okay? I am absolutely convinced that the bear market is over for Bitcoin. And before you immediately dismiss this as clickbait, take the time to understand the pivots that I'm drawing out here, okay? So, of course, if we start ourselves on the weekly chart, we can notice that we have bounced directly on top of the weekly 200 MA twice, okay? And as predicted, this is the bottom, at least of the previous crash pattern on Bitcoin. And it so happened that the scenario was bounce, 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 and then that was the start of the next bull run, right? And let's actually explain why, okay? So whenever you have a significant move, you generate mass for that move, okay? So every time we have this downward expansion, we get this new beautiful red plume, and that generates mass, right? Force equals mass times acceleration. The more mass you have, the harder it is to move, right? Volume is force. When you buy, you push price up. When you sell, you push price down. So with that in mind, we have generated a lot of mass on this recent downward move. And that move did stop right on top of an institutional benchmark. So what needs to happen before we can actually apply enough force to get price moving upward again? Well, that mass needs to shed. That mass needs to compress, okay? And that's exactly what started to happen, right? Our longest overexpanded period was 250. So we have our 250 period band loaded up on this chart, and we have just begun the compression of that 250 period, okay? The 1.25 standard deviation is the empirical constant for the expansion or compression of a distribution. Okay? So, because we have crossed this pivot, we are now in a state of compression. Compression is lateral trading, and it is nigh impossible. 19 times out of 20 will price stay inside of a compressing longest overexpanded period. Okay? So, for the remaining period, or at least as long as Bitcoin is in a range as defined by the 1.25 standard deviation, like so, right? As long as you're inside that range, we'll be in a state of compression and we'll be in a state of shedding mass. This will continue to happen as long as price does not leave this band, okay? And it will be very difficult for price to leave this band because as long as it has a reading above the 0.7 value, okay, that means price is going to be forced to stay inside. And this is, I actually have an excellent example of this happening, right? So if we go to the 1 hour chart and we take a look at our 3-day wave PM, I'm actually really happy with this, and I can point out one of the great reasons why this breakout was so strong, okay? So in one sense, we were expecting mean reversion to the 275 MMA, and that did fail. So let's point out why it failed, okay? Also, I'm pretty happy with the new TradingView window interface. It's very attractive. So, our longest overexpanded period of mass for this relative move was 275. So we have loaded up a 275 period band, right? And you'll notice price stayed inside the 275 period band rather well, right? Typically, that just implies mean reversion, right? Because as a band compresses around price, right, it forces it back towards the center. And it's important to note that compression does not require mean reversion. It is, however, the most probable scenario, right? Because the mean is where price will start to actually compress the fastest. So as long as, let's load this up full screen here, okay? Right, this here is the 275 period. And as long as it has a reading of red or orange, right, that means price will stay inside that band. But the moment that turns down to 0.7 or green, right, as soon as it's below the 0.7 value, or in other words, as soon as it shed a significant amount of mass, it means that force can once again overpower mass, right? If you got Mickey Mantle at the home plate, is he going to have an easier time hitting a home run with a bowling ball or a baseball, right? Obviously the baseball. So when we get this reading where it turns back to a green value, that's like the bowling ball shedding enough mass to be about the same weight as a baseball now. And you're never going to guess what's happened right here, okay? I'm going to draw a vertical line right where that mass reading dips below 0.7, right there, okay? I'm not making this up, right? As soon as this turns green, right on this candle right here, that's when we're below the 0.7 value. And lo and behold, as soon as we're below the 0.7 value, guess what happens? I can't make this up. Price breaks the range. New trend begins. Okay? This was just incredibly clean. I was a little wigged out because the mean reversion didn't complete. However, and that's why I didn't take this long, is because I was still expecting mean reversion, right? I decidedly ignored the fact that this was below the 0.7 value, and a new trend could actually begin without requiring the full mean reversion, right? It just so happens that it's more probable for mean reversions to happen before that compression finally finishes, and it's a rare circumstance where this actually doesn't touch down in the mean before trend continuation. And well, I have a pretty good explanation for that. Well, there's buying pressure all throughout here, right? We did see signs of accumulation in this range. And because there were signs of accumulation, well, it's more than possible that price has been supported, which caused the mean reversion to fail, so that when this finally did compress to a significant number, well, new trend began rather conveniently, right? And well, that's exactly what we're seeing on the daily. So let's load up that 275 period again, or the 250 period, excuse me. Okay, so as soon as this pivot right here is crossed, right, we will trade laterally as defined by the longest overexpanded period. And if you feel like going on my YouTube channel back to December 17th, you'll notice that I've been drawing out this, I've been drawing out the same structure since December 17th, okay? Where we have just re-entered the longest overexpanded period, and now price will be forced to trade laterally as defined by that period as this sheds its mass. And as soon as it's shed a significant amount of mass, well, the new trend can begin. And if you go ahead and take a look at the previous crash pattern, you're going to get something really nice. Okay, let's go back to 2015 here. Okay, in this particular instance, our longest overexpanded period was 200. So we'll load that up here. Actually, we'll just keep the same relativity. All right. So we had this overexpanded period. Zoom in a little bit more. Perfect. Where we initially bounced directly on the mean. We cross our mean reversion pivot. Price trades laterally as defined by the period, which allows volatility overhead to sufficiently compress. And then as soon as we get the new net upward expansion, right? Or rather, as soon as the longest overexpanded period is sufficiently compressed as defined by the 3D wave PM, it allows force to begin to push price, which allows new expansion, and new expansion results in new trend, okay? So that's exactly what we're seeing, right? The bear market is over. And now we have begun a period of accumulation, right? Because price can't leave this purple compressing band here, right? That prevents with we've added another layer of support essentially, because it's going to be very difficult for price to break the bottom edge of this purple band. And well, we've already defined support on, you guessed it, the weekly 200 moving average. So everything we have here is incredibly clean. All right. So buckle up. Really, as far as actual short-term predictions go, we do still have that short-term upward expansion for the new plume of mass generated on the 1 hour. However, right, we do have defined upward trend. We might see some brief retracements because the mass generated on the shorter time frames. However, this is a new bullish condition, and I'm very happy with the way this has been turning out. Okay, dead check out. It's a really nice trade. Beautiful. We got a few comments here. Nice title. Yeah, thanks, brother. What would be a good way to enter the BCH ABC trend? And Def Vader says precisely positive accumulation took place all through the sideways move. It was only a matter of time. Wave PM 3D looked like it did a fantastic job of getting a good entry point for moving up. You're absolutely correct. Yeah. Oops, I actually have a chart over here I can use. BCH ABC. What a long ticker. What a nuisance. Okay. Yeah, I consider this a breakout. We have net expansion all in the same direction. If you're looking for entry, we're going to have to go to the 15-minute and define retracement values, but this was so clean. It's this signal right here, this breakout. Now let's actually define where we could have defined the breakout. Right on this candle, we had our breakout. Why? Well, because we had net expansion on the wave PM. And I was asleep for that, so I didn't get to call it. But I was in, because I do like to bet on potential energy. It just doesn't match the risk profile of my actual calls. Okay. Wow. Truly clean. Yes, I mean, I'm still in this. Let's check 1 hour first, see if we can define our plume. And if we're seeing any mean reversion pivots here, okay. Longest over expanded period is 400. Yeah, we have not crossed any mean reversion pivots yet. This is still in a very defined trend. Okay. So really anything, well, I guess I'll just define the retracement value on 355. It's about as low as it's going to go for the time being. Sure, that pivot's going to slowly move up, but just from what we're getting here, it's pretty clean. Let's check out the live stream questions. NIM, okay. NIM BTC. Okay, never mind. Forgot to close my email today. XAU USD. Oh, that was a while ago. Okay. No, we're pretty good. We just checked this one last time. See how you guys are doing. So no longer staying fiat. It's not really a good entry. I mean, we'll get some pretty good long entries in the near future here. And I'll check out AppCoin as well. Okay. I do believe this has crossed any significant retracement pivots. Okay, from the 4-hour chart, our longest appears to be. I'm going to need to do 6 hour to get a better reading here. Okay, it looks like we're seeing the 300 period. 300. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we're going to do this on a higher resolution. And this will take quite some time to load, so just give me some patience, would you? And just a fun note, XLM did cross its mean reversion pivots, so I do have bullish expectations on that. Okay. Let's find the exact period of overexpanded mass, shall we? We need to take a look at the 505 period. Wait, is that really correct? Yeah, it is. Okay. 505. Okay. So this is one of the scenarios where it bounces here or not at all. Okay. So in this scenario, we're going to want to wait for a CCI roll up, right? Just because the price volatility is so high right now, it's hard to properly manage risk. So I guess we can set an alert for this. It's going to be really, 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 really risky. I might call it if it matches your risk profile, but let me set this up here for us, okay? Plot crossing up 100. Okay, that should give us an entry. Again, this is really high risk, so just be careful. And our retracement is, if this pivot breaks, we will drop down another 13%. So really do be careful on this front, okay? Oh, wow, no new comments. Okay. It's a pretty quiet day. It's a Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to call this live stream short. It's been pretty nice to be with you all today. I'll talk to you all later, right? If I get that ping, I might call this, but we'll be recommending some extreme caution on this relative pair, okay? It's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you guys later.